Welcome back, guys, to yet another War of the Visions video. Today we're going over none other than the man himself, Orlandeau, or you may know him better as Thunder God Sid. We're talking about this guy right here, the new character, what you should be working for him, what you should be leveling him up with, what abilities are good for him, what vision cards are good for him, espers, all of the different stuff that you might not be finding anywhere else out there, guys, because a lot of different build opportunities that you can do with him. PvE, PvP, different sort of roles. You can make him tanky, you can make him do a lot of damage, you can find something to do in between, make him faster. All of this stuff, we're talking about it for you guys today, guys. So let's go talk about the man himself, Orlandeau, first and foremost, guys. So let's talk about abilities first real quickly, what abilities you should be working on and leveling up right away, the most important ones, and why you might be foregoing these abilities in the long run on some of these other abilities. So let's talk about the big two first and foremost, Thunder God and Blade Soul. No matter what sort of Thunder God you're making, these are the two passives that you definitely want to max out right away. The first one I'm talking about is Thunder God. It's for the Saint Sword job. You unlock it right away, very early on, and what it does is it significantly raises your attack and lowers all attack resistance. So what does this mean? It means that it gives you a significant attack boost. Obviously, this goes up to 60% attack, okay? And the lowers all attack resist. This means your resistance to striking damage, piercing damage, magic attacks, all of that stuff. That's your type damage resistance. At max level, this is 8%, but the other thing is that the lower the level Thunder God is, the bigger the resistance down actually is. So you want to take this all the way up there, because if you have this equipped and it's not near max level or max level, you're going to be having 10, 20, 25% resistance down as a passive equipped to you. If you have a level 1 Thunder God, go look at your resists right now, and I'm sure you're going to be surprised at how squishy he's going to be because you have it equipped. So if you're going into PvP, you're just starting to work on your Thunder God, it's level 1, don't have it equipped, take it off, because it's going to make you take like 20%, 25% more damage. All right, that's another one that you should be working on maxing right away. The second one is Blade Soul. Blade Soul is very strong. It increases your attack and evasion rate at max level. This is 25% attack and 12% evasion rate. It also lowers your defense at max level by 3. So this is another passive that you guys are going to be using. If you have them both on, which you can, that's 85% attack. That's a lot of damage there. The passives for characters are always the things that you're looking at maxing first, no matter who it is, because they're always on, they're always active. It doesn't matter what skill you're using, it doesn't matter what skill you're attacking with, your auto attack, a different skill, a weaker skill, a stronger skill, you're always gaining that attack, and it's going to be used in all of the damage that you're doing, and that's why it's one of the two things that you should be maxing out first on pretty much every character. Now the other two passives, we have HP level 1 and then battle wise here. So I don't even have HP level 1 unlocked at max level. This gives you 15% HP. Battle wise at max level also gives you 15% HP. It also always gives you jump +1, and not move and jump +1, but just jump +1. Now, why would you want to have these unlocked? Isn't Thunder God Sid's job just to do damage? You can do that, but both Blade Soul and Thunder God make you take a little bit more damage. So if you are going into a build that you want to be a little bit tankier, you can drop 1 or 2 of these off. I do 1 a lot of the times, leave 1 of them on, and then pick up the HP % passive there, because it's not just about the HP that you're gaining, you're also not losing defense if you have Blade Soul on, or you're not losing all resist down if you have Thunder God on. We'll be talking about more about that in the build section. After that, guys, you have stuff like Crush Armor. This is one of his best skills. It does a little bit of damage, but the most important thing is that it always is lowering your enemy's defense, and I think this is -25 defense, which is a huge deal for 3 turns when you use Crush Armor, and it has a long range on it. So this is one that you're going to be wanting to max out. It has, look at this range, 5 range on it, super crazy, right? Orlandeau doesn't move very far, only 3 movement, but this has 5 range on it. It does 25 defense down, and that is before it does the damage. So even though it's damage small, you're going to do the 25 defense down, which is a lot. That's like 25% bonus damage, and then it does the damage. So very strong skill. Max that one out definitely right away as fast as possible. Later on, you're going to have good stuff like Crush Weapon. This is a very strong skill. His highest multiplier skill is actually Crush Weapon. Very huge. big damage, then does attack down, and then you have stuff like Divine Ruination, very nice piercing sort of attack, do damage in that round. Then you're just going to kind of go around and unlock most of his skills here. Really the two big prominent skill categories you're looking at is the Thunder God, or the Saint Sword, I should call it, the Saint Sword passive skills for that job there, and then the Samurai ones. The Samurai ones are also very strong. We have Devotion for attack and critical hit rate. We have access to Kongo. I butchered that name probably, but this one later on will give you Machine and Stone Killer. It does a nice multiplier as well. But as far as actives goes, you're going to be looking at unlocking the ones that are permanently unlocked, like with most characters, Shadow Blade, Crush Weapon, Divine Ruination. These are also some of his most strongest, permanently strongest skills there for you. Now, as far as passives goes, there's Auto Refresh, which I think is one of the two best ones, and then Sword Guard. So Auto Refresh, when you proc this, it's going to give you, I think, up to 20% of your AP back. So the higher level your Orlandeau is, the higher his max AP pool is. And by virtue of that, having a big AP pool, 20% just keeps getting better and better and better as you're leveling up. And this means that you take some damage, this procs, you're ready to go, right? You get 20, 22, 23, 24 AP back. You're going to be able to use, if you had no AP before, a whole skill. This can give you a whole skill use at max level. Very strong. Now, the other one that I would think about is Sword Guard. This has a chance of reducing incoming damage by 30% when taking damage. Very strong there, especially if you're trying to build a tanky Orlandeau build. Outside of that, not a whole bunch of like super crazy stuff. You know, we have evasion rate with illusion for your party. We have meditation for bravery, but those aren't like super crazy. Divine healing, we're almost never going sub job night on Orlandeau for the most part. We're looking at traditionally his own Saint Sword skills and the Samurai ones for devotion for the self-attack buff, maybe illusion as well to be a little bit more tanky in combination with Blade Soul, right? Because this gives you 12 evasion, and then you can get an extra 25% for meditation. So Orlandeau with just, or not meditation, but illusion. With illusion in a Blade Soul, that's 37% evasion just for kind of existing out on the battlefield. So very strong there. The night skills that you can unlock, you can get some extra sort of debuffs, or you have Speed Break for agility down and Trinity Break for attack and magic and agility down. But his own base skills, he already has like defense down. He already has attack down. So there's going to be some very minor circumstances where you're actually going to want that agility break and magic break from the Trinity break there. So that's going to be Orlandeau's skills. We talked about that. Hopefully you guys got a good portion of knowledge from that. Now let's talk about different ways that you can gear him in different builds. So there's obviously the traditional one, right? The all-out attack build, right? You put your highest attack sword on there. One of his best weapons is just going to be some sort of crafted sword, whether you have the Lionheart +5, you're around for that collaboration, or you can craft some other normal sword, because the swords are going to have access to none other than the slashing attack up. Right, that's going to be very strong. If you can craft like a Nagnarok with Assault, that's going to be a very good, solid option for you. So make sure you can go ahead and craft that while that event is up. You can also just, for the time being, go ahead and stick the Excalibur on. The Excalibur is a very strong sword. It's got the accuracy on it, so if you're going against anyone who's doing some sort of, you know, some sort of Orlandeau thing, and they've got the Blade Soul and they've got the illusion up, you're gonna be able to cut in through that accuracy. You'll be able to cut in through some people who are trying to put some evasion teams together right now, and that's gonna help out. But Excalibur doesn't have that slash up, so you're gonna want to replace it eventually, guys. Eventually. As far as swords, that's gonna be that pretty much. Equipment, outside of that, your traditional equipment, there's not a whole lot to go out as far as hats and stuff, but Sage's hat's pretty strong. You can get a Spirit Sage's hat to make him bulkier, and that's really what I want to go into eventually. Here's what we're talking about, is the bulky Orlandeau. I like the bulky Orlandeau is actually very, very powerful, very, very strong. He's got a lot of staying power once you can work on the build enough. So the attack build, just good attack, hit things really hard, put Thunder God Blade Soul on. You know, kind of doesn't really need an introduction. Good espers for that. We're looking at Behemoth and Iron Giant, right? Because these characters, these units right here, when you go and put them on Orlandeau, they're going to have the ability to increase his attack, increase his slashing attack up. Very strong circumstantial damage, and thankfully Orlandeau is that slashing damage, so this is going to help him very, very easily. Now let's move over into the sort of tanky Orlandeau build, very, very, very strong. Sort of thing that you can go ahead and use, because Orlandeau actually does have a little bit of defense, which helps him out in this tankiness build, and he's actually got quite a bit of HP from not only his HP passives, but on his board he actually has 15% HP as not a passive that you equip, but just on his board from being a knight. So you get access to that, and his base HP is actually pretty strong as well. So he ends up with actually quite a bit of considerable HP when all things are said and done, right? You can get up to 3K, 4K relatively easily with your different Esper resonances and things of that nature in a piece of gear. He can get up there. He can be pretty tanky. He's got a little bit of base defense to work on. So what you can do with Orlandeau is you can kind of play around with this. I've been doing a build right now with Leonis Castle. It's a very, very, very selfish card, but it is one of the best cards and one of the most underrated cards. And this is why, because it has a fair amount of base HP on it, a little bit of attack and magic, not a whole lot, but the bestowed effect for the character that has it equipped is Defense and Spirit plus 15. And Defense and Spirit is very, very, very hard to come by. Because not only is crafting gear kind of a pain in the butt right now, but the way that gear works is it takes your highest stat from whatever you have equipped. So if you have 8 defense on each thing equipped, you're still only getting 8 defense. So the only other way to really kind of get defense and spirit, it takes your highest stat from your gear, your vision card, and then whatever sort of passives and bonuses that you have access to from your character. So once you have some sort of TMR on him, like an accessory, whether it's his or someone else's, like Mont's, that has like 8 defense and spirit, if you have like 8 defense from Thunder God's Cape, as well as what he gets from his board and his passive, plus the Leonis Castle, you're looking at upwards of 30 defense, and plus whatever you have for spirit from your spirit hat. So you get like 30 defense, 30 spirit pretty easily once you start working on a build like this. And that's going to be cutting damage you take by 30%, which is a large amount of damage. And with this big spongy HP pool, very, very strong there. Then it can get even more in depth based on the Esper that you have equipped, because not only can Espers increase your offensive ability with their attack plus and their slashing damage up and their evasion up, but there are some Espers, notably we're going to be talking about 2 here as Iron Giant as well as a free, but Iron Giant a little more accessible for you guys. Later on, once you start leveling your Espers up, you can fully complete this sort of tanky build by learning these resistance passives, right? Iron Giant has up to 15% slashing resistance, and Orlandeau actually has quite a bit of resistance passives himself, right? He's 20% resistance to slashing, 10% resist to missile. I think he's got some resistance to striking damage. He's weak to piercing a little bit, and he's weak to magic by 20% as well. But if you're trying to really counter what other people are doing, other Orlandeau Sterns, right? Slashing damage is very popular right now, as well as shooting damage, missile type damage. There's 2 Espers that you can stack on top of this. You give them the HP, you give them defense and spirit, and then you give them these Espers that have 15% resistance to either slashing with his Iron Giant, or you give him resistance via our boy Afreet here, who also has 15% resistance, but it's to missile damage. You can do that as well. You can still get some attack in here. You're not going to get the slashing attack up on Afreet like you will with our boy the Iron Giant. So the Iron Giant has attack for him, it has slashing up, it has slashing received down. Afreet, on the other hand, doesn't have the slashing up, but it does have attack a little bit less too, only 7%, but the missile resist here. Afreet is very strong at countering or helping you counter ranged characters, right? Because he's already going to be, with this tanky build, he's going to have some defense. He's going to have a good amount of defensive spirit, 30. It's very strong. He already has a little bit of missile resistance. You can give him more missile resistance. And ranged characters aren't the tankiest type of characters in the entire game, and you're really not cutting your damage all that much with these sort of builds, especially just by changing your Esper up a little bit there. So what I have right now, what I've been running right now, I run one of the 2 passives. I either pick Thunder God or I pick Blade Soul. So Blade Soul drops your defense by 3, Thunder God drops all your resist by 8. TLDR, without showing all the math and bogging the video down, Thunder God makes you take 8% more, around there, more damage. And the other one, Blade Soul, is going to make you take around 3% more damage. So between the 2, if you want to do a little bit more damage and take a little bit more damage compared to Blade Soul, throw Thunder God on. It's going to give you that extra attack, 35% extra attack for around 5% more damage taken. Whereas Blade Soul, right, it's going to give you 25% attack, but you're going to be taking less defense-oriented damage, right? So all those mages are going to be hitting you even less with Blade Soul on it compared to Thunder God, because Thunder God raises, or not raises, but lowers all of your different attack type resistances. So including the magic attack type resistance, whereas Blade Soul only drops your defense. It doesn't drop your spirit. So Blade Soul, if you're going up against a lot of mages, is going to be the one that you want to go for, especially because mages aren't all that tanky right now, right? They're not that tanky right now. So you can go in here, you can trade off that attack. You can trade off that extra attack. You don't really need that extra 90 attack to kill that squishy mage. Take less damage. Take less damage with Blade Soul. Get in there. You're going to have spirit from the card you can use. You have spirit from your spirit hat, especially if you start leveling it up. Get a Sage's hat going. I can get another 11. I can get 11 more spirit here. So I can get 11 spirit from the hat and 15 from the card. I can get 26 spirit on Old Man and bomb his faith out to 30 to help him tank up those magic damage with his big HP pull, and that's going to help you out a little bit there as well. And you can go in here, change auto refresh to Sword Guard to have a chance to reduce the damage by another 30%. You can do a lot of cool stuff with Orlandeau. Now, outside of that tanky build, what other cards are really good for him? Honestly, pretty much any card that's going to either increase your slashing damage is good for him. Any card that's going to increase your attack is good for him. Those are pretty much the two things you're kind of looking at for him right now. There is a lightning damage upcard with Frederica's Dream. If Frederica's in your party, you can put that on Orlandeau, but you're using 2 lightning UR, so I don't know who you are right now in the meta, but you can do that as well. Castle Horn is a good card that you can throw on him. This was in there if you're just starting to look for a card that you can awaken a couple times. This does go up to 30% attack. You will lose 10% luck, but it's going to raise your slashing resistance, give you 30% extra attack as the bestowed effect, so it stacks with other party attack up percents. That's very strong for him as well. You can do Iron Giant if you want to, because it has the slashing attack for the party resist, but it's just your traditional damage dealer. Agility's good, Secret Orders, any of these cards are fine for him. There's nothing like super crazy. He's your traditional sort of slashing up, so anything that works well with a slashing damage dealer is going to be good for him. You want Echoing Screams in your party somewhere. Maybe you put Scion of Hell's Beowulf on him if you have that access to that, right? If you have a Howl of the Ferocious Blaze, a free, just like every other damage dealer, they're going to be putting them in there. But I think I really wanted to zone in and tell you guys about this crazy tanky Orlandeau build. Is very, very strong. It's definitely a way that you can go out and use him in PvP and PvE, have him tank up multiplayer for you, solo a lot of the multiplayer stuff. Monsters can't hit you for anything, and you're just going to go bop him right back and one-shot him anyway. Because if you're already killing everything in one hit, do you really need to kill everything in one hit even more? No, just cut that damage you're taking down 20, 30%. Put that tanky card on him. Have fun with that. So definitely let me know if you've been using a build like this. It is a little bit selfish, right? Because that party ability on the Leonis card, it's only critical hit. It's still pretty good, but it's nothing crazy. It's not Echoing Screams. But you do get that 15 defense and 15 spirit. You're cutting your damage, by a lot, up to 15% if you didn't already have defense and spirit. So you can get really tanky really quickly, take off one of those passives to reduce your damage even more, put that tanky card on, put a piece of gear with spirit on, put an accessory, right? If you get them to LB4, put a TMR on with a defense or spirit and start going to town. You'll be able to tank up hits, not die, counterattack. If the other person's not building tanky either, you're just going to one-shot them anyway. You're going to drop their defense by 25, gone. You can hit them with Crush Armor into Crush Weapon, gone. You're going to heal up with Dust Blade after they fail to kill you, and you're going to finish them off and heal all that HP up, gone. So very strong sort of situation that you can do there. I'm looking forward to leveling mine up. I'm looking forward to getting mine max job awakened right now. And as you can see in formation, we don't even have Thunder God on. I'm already pushing almost 700 attack in a tanky oriented build, and I'm missing 10 levels. If I wanted to go in there, put Thunder God on, I'm sure that at the end of the day, when I hit 15, 15, 15, after this weekend, it's going to be a lot of farming that we're going to be doing. You can be quite tanky and still dish out that damage, and that's really what makes Thunder God a god of the thunder. So if you guys want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, subscribe for more information, whether it's War of the Visions, Brave Exvius, or other Final Fantasy news. If you want to be part of the community over on Twitch or in the Discord, great people always having conversations. Make sure you come and check us out. Links to those things are down in the description. And as always, thank you so much for those of you out there who support via Patreon as well as YouTube channel members. You guys are fantastic and definitely are the reason why this channel can keep going and growing and producing content and getting better. It's a fun time out there, and I owe you guys a dedicated amount of gratitude. That's what we want to say there. But anyways, thank you guys so much, and until then, stay safe out there, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.